Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation on using agentic workflows for creating a health and fitness coach. This is my first real YouTube video, so welcome to my channel. I have a project today that attempts to unify two different fields. One is the field of people experimenting with using ChatGPT as a personal coach, and the other field is people using LangGraph and agentic AI to automate workflows that involve harnessing a large language model. I have a demonstration to go through, but before I do that, I'll go over some slides. Okay, I was first inspired to do this video after looking at a similar video from Wild Rafa. That's what I'm basing my workflow on. But I wanted to do things with my own spin added to it. So not just using the back and forth chat interface on ChatGPT, I wanted to do something that's data-driven because that's the way I approach problems, or it's the way I think naturally. Having said that, this video didn't just come about after watching that video. This has been gestating in my head for a while. As far as I know, or as far as I can speculate, Apple is probably going to introduce something similar in the near future. So I'd like to get this video out before that happens, because this video can be obsolete just from a software update, and we don't know when that's going to happen. So I get that AI fatigue is real. This is a crowded market, and it seems as though all fitness platforms are introducing artificial intelligence in some sort of way to varying degrees of success. The reason I made this is because no solution that I've seen that exists can give me what I need for my needs. And I'll explain through my slides why that is. I believe that all of these platforms and all of these solutions, they don't harness all of your data. They've only got a specific slice of your data, whereas a company like Apple has all of your data, and the quality of the personal instructor or fitness coach depends on how much data they have. Okay, my goals for this video and for this agentic workflow is I don't want to get fit enough to peak at an event so I get a really fast time. I'm not looking to be an influencer. I'm not even really looking to have elite levels of fitness. I'm just trying to improve myself slightly within the constraints that I've set for this agentic coach workflow. If I can improve within those constraints, I'll be happy. And it's easy for me as a casual runner to fall into this routine of monotony, and I want to get out of that. I'm also a multiple sport athlete, just at a very casual recreational level, and I want an AI workflow or personal fitness coach to have the context to know that I'm doing multiple things rather than just one thing, which taxes my cardiovascular system. So I've done quite a few different daily workflow systems. The first is Stride. I had a good experience with Stride, and I've directly taken inspiration from their power duration curve, because it's a visual way of seeing what you've done, what's coming up, what you need to improve, and it's easy to understand. But like I said, I'm a multiple sport athlete, and the Stride power curve does not take into consideration everything else that I'm doing in my life, which taxes my body, which would influence how ready I am for a hard workout, for example. The other thing that I have tried and I'm trying now is the Garmin daily suggested workouts. They're pretty good. The issue that I have run into them, I can still use them, but the issue I've found is they're quite monotonous and they're very deterministic. So if you've got a base workout coming up, it tends to be, depending on what they've figured you out as a person, it'll always be exactly 40 minutes. And returning to that exact workout every time I'm in that part of my plan, I find that just demotivating. I want to have a little bit of randomness or jitter there. So unlike with the Wild Rougher video, I need to come up with my own algorithm because I'm not asking ChatGPT in the chat interface to give me a plan. So I need to come up with an algorithm. And what I've come up with in my research is something called training impulse. It's abbreviated, I believe, to TRIMP. So basically it adds up all of your heart rate measurements and it weights it so that higher heart rate amounts are weighted as more strain on yourself than lower heart rate amounts at an exponential weighting factor. And that's what I'm using to build a very slow ramp for the purposes of this demonstration. Through my research and just my observations in general, there seems to be a bit of a tension between imprecise general measurement and precise specific measurements. I'll give you an example. So it's very easy to determine how much work you're doing by pedaling a stationary bicycle, because it's externally measured. Whereas something like your heart rate is imprecise because it responds to the environment, how hot it is, and it responds to how you're feeling. You might be sick. So it's delayed, it's biased, it's not that good, but it's universal. It's what I've fallen to because I prefer lots more data, as I've sort of alluded to earlier. And I've got a schedule because I'm designing my workout by myself. Rather than using a cookie cutter plan, I need to design my days, which I've done, and it's easy to do with code. Not that it happens often, but I do not like to train. I want to completely eliminate the possibility of doing 2 hard day workouts in a row, and I've done that. I also find with cookie cutter plans is they don't take into account my preferences for my lifestyle. And what I mean by that is in the weekends I prefer to be relaxed, I prefer to do social rides, I'm in the mood for leisure. Whereas in the weekdays I'm time constrained and I'm much more receptive to a hard training block. And I can design my workout schedule to fit around that. I've tried the Stride workout builder. They want you to work out like 4 or 5 days a week, maybe 6 days a week. That would probably be optimal, but I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of fitness in order to fit within my lifestyle preferences. So in order to do something like this is quite, it's not easy. So I've always worn 2 watches, so it's not a problem for me, but you will need 2 watches. And there's sort of feedback between one watch and the other watch. You'll also need an AWS account, probably, to process health data. Ordinarily, we're also dealing with 2 walled gardens, which creates complications. So Apple is a walled garden, and you cannot put workouts in. You generally can't take data out. However, there's a workaround that I found. It's the Health Auto Export app, and that's a way for me to conveniently retrieve daily downloads of data and send it to a REST API. Garmin is another walled garden. You cannot put workouts through the API into your Garmin Connect calendar. A workaround that I've found to get over that is to use the intervals.icu training calendar, which syncs to your Garmin Connect account. Without those 2 workarounds, this workflow would not be possible. I'm also using LangGraph, and I'm using a large language model. ChatGPT is sort of a placeholder. I'm actually using the Anthropic API key, but it's a large language model. So yeah, it continues the trend of people using ChatGPT as a personal coach. You'll need a data pipeline. Yours doesn't have to look like mine, but you need to take data from your health auto export app and put it to a place where you can do database queries. And I'm using S3 to put it. That's the object storage I'm using. Now onto the demonstration. So now let's go over what it's like to be ready for a workout. As you can see, the data in my S3 buckets is partitioned by date string, and today I'm recording it on the 29th of March. I would need data up till the 28th of March, so yesterday's data and all the previous days until about 2 weeks for the algorithm to have completeness of data to generate a new workout. So I'll trigger the error node in Langsmith Studio. To show how the agent stops itself from recommending a workout, generating a workout based on bad data before it can do it. Okay, now I will send the data on my Health Auto Export app on iOS. The data has been sent. This is the raw bucket. Now yesterday's data is there. Okay, now the data is loaded. Okay. Also, I'll try and trigger if the error node, if the data check nodes doesn't pass, if I delete data from my profile. So if you're thinking back to the Wild Rafa video, you gave your personal data, like your background, in the form of a chat interface or through giving documents. Here it's done through code. So I'll edit the code to show how concepts map when you're going from back and forth conversational interfaces to a data-driven approach. Okay, it doesn't know my name. It should know my name before it continues the agentic workflow. Now the next thing I'll try is I'll generate a workout, but I'm going to choose not to accept it to my trading calendar to show the human in the loop can look at the workout before accepting it. Okay. I am rejecting the workout to show the human in the loop. So I'll show what my workout calendar looks like to show that what the training calendar looks like before accepting the workout. So this is my workout calendar. On my Garmin watch, which I'll show. There's training calendar, and there's no workout on my Garmin watch. Now I'll do the workflow again. It's slightly different, which shows the jitter I was talking about earlier. So it won't generate the exact workout the same each time. Okay, the workout should be in my training calendar, intervals.icu. Okay, on my Garmin watch. It's not showing up right now, but when it does show up, it'll come up. But it's on my intervals.icu account. Now I'm going to upload synthetic data off camera, which is today's workout the fake workout that I upload to S3, and then a bunch of data. So I'll do that off camera. So now I have uploaded all of the fake data to the S3 buckets. I'll show you my Garmin watch. It takes a while, but the workout is on the calendar. And I'll show you the buckets. Firstly, the workout bucket. That data, that workout that hasn't been done in real life is now in the bucket. So I'm going to go to Langsmith Studio and ask how the workout went. Okay. Now I've uploaded a lot of synthetic days data, so I basically progressed the clock a week's worth of time in the interest of the demonstration, and I'll show you what the bucket looks like. Yeah, there's all this data, like it's not the 31st of March yet, or the 30th, and there's also next week's data, which doesn't exist. So I'm going to ask the agent if I've made any progress. And I'm expecting it to say that I have made progress because I've put in some fake data showing that my resting heart rate has decreased over time. So basically the difference between the progress node and the deep SQL node is I've stored a bunch of SQL queries that don't take up a lot of compute in order to solve. Just these are the SQL queries that you'd run day to day, whereas deep SQL challenges the large language model with something that it hasn't seen before. So leveraging the generative intelligence that it has. Hopefully this works. I don't know what it's going to say because I just uploaded some data showing a trend over 7 days. This might not work. Okay. Well, It didn't do what I was hoping. But it shows data. It's responding with data. So you haven't given this to the agent. It's using its own resourcefulness to come up with answers in natural text. I'll see if I can uncover the deep node, and I'll ask an open-ended question in plain text and see if it can answer a question like this. I already know the answer in advance, that if I'm on a bike, I'm riding for a long time. Whereas if I'm doing yoga, I start to get bored after about half an hour to an hour. So I know the answer to this already. But in order to know this about me, you'll have to conduct some SQL queries on the data, which is not trivial. But the agent has schema information. Okay. So sometimes it fails. I won't skip over this, but in the past, other deep SQL queries have worked. Back to the slides. So this is not just about what I've demonstrated today, but the potential for the future. This is more of a do as I say rather than do as I do. I don't include nutrition because I find it hard or annoying to log stuff that's not perfect. If I'm eating oatmeal, it's perfect to log every single aspect, but cooked meals with lots of ingredients is a pain to log as food. But I think this can be quite powerful if you add food. Likewise, a readiness score using sleep data. I'm not a sports scientist or an exercise person with expertise in the field, so I can really only come up with a basic go or no-go based on how well you've slept. So I'm alluding to the idea that you can add this data for your algorithm to decide what kind of workout you do, rather than implementing it based on possibly shoddy science. I'm only using workout data to calculate TRIMP, whereas to make this really comprehensive, you'd use just your activity. So rather than recording stuff as a workout, let's say you're at a conference and you're walking around, you're on your feet the whole day, then you're burning a lot more calories than if you're sitting down. That you can make a theoretical case to add that to your TRIMP score. And I do lifting, like I lift weights, but only not for long, like only 20 minutes per week, spread across 2 sessions. If I really wanted to give as much data as I could count the reps and the sets and everything, the category of lifts, and provide that data to this AI partner as well. So I'm wearing 2 watches. I understand that that's socially a bit of a faux pas, or it looks strange, or you'll get comments. But if you're just a cyclist and if you only do 2 activities, then you can make this workflow Garmin only, I would think. The other thing is I've sort of cobbled together a workout algorithm generator, whereas you could really just give all of the data to the large language model and allow it to decipher for itself what you should do next. And that's transferring more of the responsibility away from you to the large language model. So that's at your discretion. The Health Auto Export app doesn't work as I would hope. So this is not a commercial product. So the API uploads are not flawless as it would be for a commercial product. So there's lots of manual uploading from the app. So it's not fully automated and it's not polished. I was hoping to show just how expensive deep agent queries were. In my experience, it costs 5 cents US, which is a lot of money. So this is really just a demonstration. It's not something that I really use. I just want to talk about this idea because nobody seems to be talking about it. Okay, and I don't plan to commercialize it or anything like that. Yeah, this is just my project. Thank you.